Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the From Hurt to Hope podcast. I am so excited that you are here. I hope you are doing well. It's been a little while since I have went live, and it's such a random time to go live. But to be honest with you, right now is like the best time for me to do this. I don't know. I don't know about this camera angle. We're gonna roll with this, and I hope this works out. Um, so I have to like work smarter and not harder on things. And that's why I am coming live this morning. I have been really busy. So first of all, let me just say, never mistake my silence for weakness, because I have been so busy with so much stuff. And with all that being said, it has just been, I'm like throwing myself off. I am recording on two devices at the same time. So I have been so busy, and I am seeing how it's all coming together now, which I am so thankful for the way that it is because oh my goodness, there for a little while I felt a little bit lost. I felt like I didn't know exactly why I was doing what I was doing and how it was all going to happen and how it was all going to come together. I was really kind of struggling there for a while. So I want to share a little bit more about behind the story, what's been going on, how I really do feel like this is all coming together and it's for like such a time as this. I know it's a really early morning and it's a really random time to be going live on Facebook, but there's a reason why. And it's because number one, I get up super early. I have been up since 3:30 this morning. And I have just been going, and I'm ready for the day. And my kids are still in bed. Actually, one just came down. So there's a chance that all three of my kids will be up here in a minute and I won't be able to talk with you guys long, but I have to work smarter and not harder. So I want to be able to share this message with you guys and tell you a little bit about what's going on. And because the way my brain is, because of how hard writing is for me, and I actually have to sit down and focus on it, which sounds crazy because I've now wrote 2 books, but just because of how hard writing is for me, it's easier for me to talk than what it is to write things out. So I will be just telling you guys this story, sharing this with you guys. And it's been a season. It's really been a season. I have to work, like I said, smarter and not harder, because just this past weekend, I was losing my voice because at this point in time, in the last 3-4 weeks, I have seen a couple hundred people have made hundreds of phone calls and talked with people and received hundreds of phone calls, not called people, but they called me and I talked with them. And I'll share more about what I do with all that stuff. But I've just been talking a lot. And if I am trying to just tell the story, I want to just say it. And I mean, it's going to be real. It's going to be raw. It's going to be unedited. And I think I can show up like that with you guys, but I'm just trying to save my voice because again, today I get to see a lot of clients and I have a full day, which I am so excited about and thankful for, because I love all my clients near and near. They're so near and dear to my heart. But I want to share with you kind of like a little bit more about how this is all coming together. So I wish I would have done it on Facebook Live here. I wish I would have shared it with you guys there too. But I recently put out a podcast talking about like my old soul. And I know you guys know that my sister has a shop called Old Soul Woodworking, which is amazing. But the name Old Soul has always meant so much to me. So I recommend going back and listening to that podcast episode because it's going to kind of give you a little bit more inside look at me and how I identify as an old soul and why, and just a few more things to my story, because I've always been one of those people who've never really fit in with my peers. I look at things quite differently, to be honest with you. And I try not to focus on the short term so much and look at long term. So more to the story, how this is all coming together, what I do, what is happening. I'm trying to cover up my notes because I'm like, oh, my handwriting is really ugly and sloppy, but how this is all coming together is that God has brought like all these pieces together. And for a really long time, I was so completely lost and had no idea how things were happening. And I firmly believe that your pain can eventually be used for your purpose. And I wish I wasn't walking through some of the pain that I'm currently walking through in my life, but I know God has a plan for that. And that's another story for another day. But some of the pain that I faced in the past and some of the troubles and some of the, issues that I have went through in the past in my life, I know God is using those for a reason now. And I want to share a little bit more about that. So It's a lot. It's a lot. Here we go, guys. Let's just jump into it. So, it's hard. It's hard to talk about it because there was so much pain. There's so much pain associated with it. And maybe this one's coming in first thing this morning for a reason. Hi, bud. Yeah, I'm talking to some people. Do you need leg hurt? Your leg hurts? Oh, sorry. Sleep on it, bunny. Okay, well, I have one of my lovelies with me this morning. Hey, Bear, I'm talking to a few people this morning, okay? You joining me? Why it's a Nicole? Because I wrote that. That's why. That's my name. That's a maiden name. No, that's my maiden name. Luna's my maiden name. Luna-Withrow is my married name. I needed him this morning. I think I needed him to start sharing the story. So as you guys can see, he's happy, he's healthy, he's waking up, he's getting ready for the day. He's sweet. He is my boy. I love him so near and dear. But some of you guys that we've been connected for quite a while, you guys know that both Barrett and Oakland, well, they're twins, and they were born really early. And let me tell you, I just started out as like that typical mom who thought my kids were going to just, I was going to like get married, have to pick a house. I was just going to have a baby. And then it was going to be an easy process. Well, to be 100% honest with you, that was the moment I think God gave me that lesson that I'm not in control of anything and that God has different plans. So that season of life was really hard for a lot of reasons. But one of the things I have not shared a lot with you guys about is how hard that season was financially. It was definitely hard emotionally. These kids went through so much during that season. But the thing that I never really shared a lot about, I guess you guys, I've shared a lot about our journey to paying off our debt and everything, but I've not shared a lot about the medical side of that and the medical bills and how that was. So each of our kids, because of how long they spent in the NICU, we did have insurance through my husband's union, but because of how long the kids spent in the NICU when they were babies, they accumulated over $1 million each in medical bills. If we did not have insurance, it would have been well beyond $1 million, which is just so crazy to think about because, I mean, if they had a bad day in the NICU or a good day in the NICU, we're talking thousands of dollars, whether they were sitting there and they made no progress that day. It was like $7,000 a day when they were in the ICU. So we had insurance, but they were born in August and, I had gotten life flighted and everything. So there's like a lot of charges from that, emergency C-sections, things like that. And the medical bills were astronomical. What made that season harder was that we weren't like exactly prepared for it. We didn't have a crazy amount of savings and things. We had a decent savings going, but I mean, we went through it in like no time. So when the kids were born and they had all these medical concerns and all these medical bills, I was also living out of the hospital and living out of like the Ronald McDonald house. And then when I wasn't living there, I was driving back and forth. So I was making a lot of trips from where we lived to Akron, and Brad was working. He was working during this time. And so he was driving and he was like eating at the hospital, and then he was eating on the road because we weren't buying groceries. We weren't cooking at our house. We weren't doing that. So it became really, really, really costly, really fast. And I am so thankful for the care that our kids received during that time. But I'm telling you what, that time was really hard. It was really, really hard financially. And considering that they were born in August and they weren't due till November, and they didn't come home from the hospital until November, also meant that we were so close to the next year that so many of their medical concerns and medical things that they needed, the treatment that they needed, it fell into the following year. So we maxed out our insurance in 2013. Turned around and maxed out our insurance in 2014. And when I say that, I mean like on insurance policies, there's these things called max out of pockets. And it's the most that you would pay on that policy within the period of the time that it's in place. So we did have a max out of pocket, but I want to say it was between $8,000 and $10,000, depending on our plans and which years and what the plan's requirements were. So just to say how it was, we maxed out our insurance every single year from 2013 when the twins were born until 2020 when Barrett had his last surgery on his eyes. We had maxed out our insurance every single year. So think about that. We were like off the bat going to hit $10,000 in medical bills every single year. That's a lot of trips to Disney. That's a lot of family vacations. That's a lot of time. We know that there's not as many people out there that do that, but that's what happened with us. Hey, buddy, here's my other one. Here's my other one. Hey, I'm talking with some people this morning, okay? Feel good? Okay. Oh, got another one here coming in, guys. Okay, so we maxed out our insurance every single year from 2013 till 2020. It was hard. It was really, really, really hard because both Brad and I have full-time working jobs. We did not qualify for any assistance on those medical bills. So I just want to mention that, like, we explored a lot of options, but we made over the income limit and we still maxed our insurance out. So that was a lot. Plus the other costs that we ran through during that time, like I said, the gas. I mean, we drove. I mean, Barrett has done so much therapy in his life, and it's thank God because he's one of the strongest kids I know now. They can't see you over here. Show your sweet fish. He's like, Mom, not this morning. But we have done so much therapy, which also meant so much driving. I drove everywhere. I mean, I put so many miles on our car and did so much. But I'll tell you what, when they were also going through this time, we looked into all the options to see if they qualify for like disability and things like that. Our income always seemed to set us over like what they were eligible for some of those benefits and things that were out there. And it was really hard because the medical bills were suffocating us. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Even to this day, we fight our medical bills like all the time. I'm not even kidding. Not fight them, like dispute them. But I'm telling you guys what, like, I just know medical bills are kind of the way of our life, and it's so unfortunate, but it's just kind of how it is, because thank God for the children we have. Thank God for the care that they received, but it's really hard. It was definitely really hard when you have children who have special needs and surgeries and things like that. Plus all the transportation and things. So where I'm trying to go with all of that stuff is that season was difficult. So very difficult. I learned how to talk to the billing departments. I learned how to talk to collection companies because of how many medical bills, maxing out our insurance every single year. I mean, in and out of our pocket, if we have maxed out our insurance and it was on an average $8,000 to $10,000 max out of pocket, and these kids are almost 10 years old. I mean, you're talking almost about $100,000 that we have spent in medical bills and paid to providers all over the state. And so that's really something. And what ended up happening, and I want to give you guys kind of like a behind the scenes kind of story. But what ended up happening is the medical bills. I was so confused by them. I was 23 when the kids came home from the hospital. And I remember just going to the mailbox and getting so many different bills, so many envelopes every single day. We lived out in the country and had to cross like a 2-lane kind of busy highway in a way to get to the mailbox. And it just got to the point where I stopped going to the mailbox. And then we would get letters. Brad would come home after a week at work, because at that time he was with a company where he traveled a lot and stayed out of town. And he'd come home and he'd go out and he'd be like, "Did you get the mail this week?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." Because one, I, had 2 babies in the house and I wasn't going to cross the street. And 2, it was just medical bills. I mean, I'm talking like you would get a charge from one office, and then you get a charge from the hospital, and then you get a charge from radiology, and you get all these charges from all these different places. And I was so confused. I want to say this really started hitting me hard in January in 2014. It started to become really overwhelming because they were born, and then the bills from like their birth and everything, once those filtered through, those started coming through after the kids came home. Actually, I believe we did start even receiving some bills while they were still in the hospital, which was really difficult because I'm like not even at home and I'm getting medical bills. So I'm not even kidding. I would go out to the mailbox and there would be dozens of medical bills. And then we, so since we lived in the country and everything, didn't go out and get the mail. We ended up starting to get like, Brad would get so frustrated with me, but I think he understands where I was coming from. We would get these little things in our mailbox, and they were like, I think they were pink, and they were these little things that say like, "Your mailbox is full. We have mail over here for you at the post office." And so then we would have to go up during the hours when that post office, we lived out in the country, super small little rural area. we would have to go out to the post office to get our mail. And he gets so frustrated because there'd be something that he was waiting for. And I'm just like, here I am, so overwhelmed and filled with anxiety. And so I want to share this with you guys because this is the children's book I wrote. So this is why I was sitting there. I need two hands, okay? So don't fall off my lap. There's something like behind the scenes I want to show you guys in this. And this is the great thing about me being able to illustrate this myself, was that I was able to sneak a lot of stuff in there. It's really fun because there's so many things behind the scenes that I'm now able to start sharing with people, like the reasons why they were. But one of the things that I made sure I did was, I want to show you this page. When here on this page, when Coco is sitting out in front of her house, her mailbox, as you can see, is overflowing with letters. And I even was like thinking, like, let's go ahead and drop some mail on the floor, like on the ground out front of it, because I legit couldn't even like get our mail half the time out of the mailbox because I'm like, there was just so much mail. But that's the reason why her mailbox is overflowing. And I almost really did think like putting like the word past due on it, or final notice, or, you know, something like that. This is an attempt to collect your medical debt or whatever it was, because like, I honestly, you know, that's the reason why her mailbox is full. That's the reason why it's like falling out of the mailbox. I mean, I should probably have just drawn some on the ground too. But the reason why I was able to sneak that into the book or put that into the book was just because that was like the story of my life. Even to this day, I almost have like trauma, PTSD, getting the mail because I get so discouraged because of all the medical bills and how much that is. Another thing that made that season kind of hard, and then coming through it, we started paying off all of our consumer debt in 2015 going into 2016. We really got focused on it and everything. But one of the things that was really hard during that season is that we had people who would make fun of us because of the decisions we made to pay off debt. And they never realized that, you know, if we didn't have the type of bills that we had, and we didn't have the debt that we had, and we didn't have the credit cards that we lived off of while the kids were in the hospital. And if I didn't buy the car, because I had to have a reliable car, especially to get Barrett to therapies all over. Sometimes driving an hour one way to get him to one therapy appointment 4 days a week. It was crazy. And then he'd be there for 3 hours. I mean, this boy right here, he is a champ. He's a champ. Are you still waking up? Yeah. Yeah. I love him so much. Okay. You're worth all of this. You know that? You're worth every penny. Sharing a little bit more about our story. Okay. So, with that being said, we had people who didn't understand our choice to become debt-free, our choice to pay down credit cards and pay off my student loans and to go through and do all that. And they legit made fun of us. They made fun of us for us trading in our old cars. And I say trading them in, but like really getting rid of our old cars, and me driving a rusty, clunky minivan, but it looked bad on the outside, but it was amazing. Like the engine was in great shape. We had people legit make fun of us and just like kind of pick at us and make comments about like, you know, how we look crazy. And they would be offended if we told them we weren't going to go out to dinner with them, or, hey, you know, maybe this year, maybe we won't buy and exchange Christmas gifts because things are really hard on us right now. We had people, and these were the people the closest to us who would it's really hard to talk about because it hurts a lot. These are the people who would say, well, you made the choice not to like have a nicer car, so don't ask to borrow ours if you're driving somewhere. But they didn't realize that during all of this, we had hundreds and hundreds of dollars in medical bills, and it made it hard. But now looking back on it, I know God had made that a piece. He made that a piece of like the whole equation and everything. But people don't realize, I mean, being a young couple and having over $100,000 in medical bills hits you so hard. But I know, like I said, I know that all had a purpose. I know God had a plan for all that, which takes me to what I'm doing today. Because during that time, I also had watched my grandpa fight cancer for over 5 years. He fought cancer on and off. And I remember he got diagnosed right before our wedding. And right before Brad and I got married. And I just remember just praying, like, for him to be healed and for him to be better. And he would do really great for a while. And then he'd have a setback, and then he'd do okay. And then he'd have a setback. But my grandpa, let me just share a little bit, but not share too much. But my grandpa worked for a company. He was promised a pension, and the company went bankrupt. So the pension fund was not existent anymore. So my grandpa was one of those people who worked over, 30, 40 years at a company, and something very unfortunate happened with their finances. And then that was really hard. And then also my grandpa, he was a widow. He lost my grandma well before I was born. And I know that he had to navigate a lot of these systems on his own. And he had, his kids, but he never wanted to burden them. So he didn't ask for a lot of he'd call him up, I'm sure, and ask for, some input, but a lot of that stuff he navigated on his own. And when you turn 65, especially in the state of Ohio and pretty much across the whole United States, when you turn 65, you go on Medicare. And I mean, some of you guys may know what that is, may not, but Medicare is for people who are over 65. Medicaid is for people under 65, but under a certain income limit. So he went on Medicare. And you have to pick all these plans, and it's so confusing, and the system is so broken. And unfortunately, he just didn't have the proper amount of insurance, and he ended up having to pay 20% of all of his medical bills, which is astronomical. I mean, you're talking, if you have $100,000 charge, you have to pay 20%. And this is what our people who are over 65 are facing if they are on traditional original Medicare. So with all that being said, I understand. I watched that happen. I watched the medical bills just suck the life right out of him, because it was crazy. I remember, there's family members helping him pay for prescriptions. There were people buying his groceries. There were people doing all this stuff that we could to help. But because he was diagnosed with cancer, there weren't a lot of options, and the plans weren't as good back then. So with all of that being said, I knew what medical bills felt like. So not only were we suffocating in medical bills and paying them off, and having people not understand how much money we had went through, and how much we had to pay, and just all of these things. And it's just one of those things, you never know unless you're in the situation, and how hard it can be, and how discouraging it can be. But I watched him also go through that, and it was really difficult. And I just knew, I'm like, I just don't know. I don't know what's happening. So then through paying off our debt and working through our journey and things like that, I became a personal financial coach. So I started coaching people and sitting down with them and working with them on their personal finances. And it was a lot of young couples, like Brad and I, a lot of young people who, had the student loans, had the credit cards, and they wanted to pay that off. So I became a certified financial coach. Started helping people make budgets and started making plans. And because of that, I had a really awesome opportunity I was in the sales business. And so I this is a whole nother thing, but I love being commission based, and it was the best option. It was just the best experience ever for me, learning that, the potential is endless when you have a commission based job. So, amen to that. But then, I needed something a little bit more stable. My commissions had went down quite a bit from the business that I was in before. And I knew, we have bills, Brad gets laid off sometimes. And I'm like, okay, we have to figure this out. What can I do? So I took an office job, and I started working just part-time in customer service at an insurance company. And then after a couple years, after having Houston and having an amazing long maternity leave with him, you want popcorn? Okay. Have Barrett put it in? He knows where the button is.
I know where
You do? Okay, go hit that popcorn button, okay? Okay. Okay, so let me know if you can reach the microwave now. Do you need help? Let me know if you need help. I'll probably have to wrap this up soon, just because the kids are all getting up and we'll have to get ready for the day. But with all of that being said, I took an office job. It was part-time, used it to finish chunking away and paying away the debt and everything like that. This would have been 2017 is when I started. No, wait, 2016, because it was right before I got pregnant with Houston. Then I started there, and he was all part of that plan. So I started working there, and then I realized, okay, there was one guy in our office who worked with a lot of seniors. He worked with a lot of senior citizens, and he did appointments and helped them with their insurance, with their health. And I'm like, meh, I just I'll just let him do what he did. But he passed away from an unexpected heart attack. And he came in on a Thursday, and he never made it back on a Friday. He passed away overnight. And so that was really, that was unexpected, and that happened. And so then all his clients were left with no one helping them, because nobody else in our agency was licensed to help them with their Medicare or health insurance. So the owner of the agency kind of, mentioned to me, hey, you're already helping people with their personal finances. I think this is a way for you to serve, seniors and help them save money too. And, what do you know? What do you think about it? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I'm not, I was like, not going to do this. I did not want to work in insurance like that. I was just happy to answer the phone, help people on the phone for a few minutes, hang up and like go on to the next call. I was just like looking for a way to make a couple extra dollars for my family, to finish off paying off our consumer debt and things at that time. And I was just like, absolutely not doing it, no way. And then I thought about it a little bit more and more and more. He kind of would just plant little seeds about how it would really help seniors, help them with their medical costs, help them figure things out. And like, finally, I was like, fine, like I need to learn a little bit more about this. I don't know a lot about it, but I need to see what this is about. And when I learned, it was like, I decided I'd get licensed in life and health insurance in my state. And then also I now specialize in Medicare, which is like God's whole plan, because really, I mean, this is how it's all unfolding, is that now I have been able to serve over hundreds and hundreds of local people and help them with their Medicare. I know you guys probably hear that word and like get like a little bit like cringed out, because one, it's insurance and it's like, oh, it's slimy, it's weird, it's crappy, it's a mess. But it's something that we have to have, because like I had shared with you guys, if we didn't have an insurance policy when our kids were born, it would have been well over $2 million. And thank God we did have insurance, but we did max it out every single year, which I've shared with you guys is dang near close to over $100,000 in just medical bills that we have faced as a young couple. So you have to have insurance. It's essential. It's really important, but I'm telling you, the system is really broken. Like I'm a little maybe nervous to like talk about it sometimes, because I'm like, they're going to like hate me for what I have to say. I'm like saying like, I don't know. I assume it's the government that comes up with this stuff, and this is not a political thing at all. But I feel like Medicare will just like take me out. Be like, nope, you can't be a licensed agent anymore, because you're exposing all of our lies. But it's the truth, you guys. It's such a broken system. Our health insurance industry in the United States is broken. Medical bills have caused the most absolute like worst financial pain in our lives as a young American couple who work. We both work, and we work a lot. And it's been really hard. It's been hard. I've seen it hit, like I said, my grandpa. I've seen the medical bills just take him down and just like, just destroy anything he ever had. And it's just really, 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 really tough. So I started working in it. And the more I work in it, the more I see how broken the system is and how unfortunate it is that the things are the way they are. But I do feel like it's my way to serve people. So I work with a lot of people who are retired. They're over 65. And I love it, you guys. I love getting to talk with people every day. And I love being able to help them save their money, because that's exactly what I do. I look at what they're currently paying for their medical insurance. I run through it quickly with them. I'm like, okay, like this is what your estimate is for next year. And hey, this, if we can make some changes, we can help you save so much money. And if it doesn't really tell you how broken the medical insurance system is that I am licensed to sell insurance. And I don't even write my own insurance through the companies that, that are out there, because it's cheaper to get our insurance through my husband's union. And if that's not telling you how broken some of this is that I can't even find myself a good insurance policy. But the things are out there, things are changing and things like that. So people will stay in jobs because of insurance. People will not quit because of insurance. People will the amount and how broken the system is for how much some prescriptions cost. It is just sad and it's scary. And this is where God has this all coming back together, is that while I'm sitting there and I'm talking with people, we have popcorn popping at 6:45 in the morning, story of my life. I love it. I love it. As I'm sitting there talking with people who are retired, who are, living their best life, kind of living in those golden years. As I get to that point and I'm talking with them, they share all of their wisdom with me, which is just like a godsend. They sit there and they tell me what their career was in, how many kids they had, how many years they've been married, if they're there with their husband or wife. They start telling me about all the, things that they've done. All the places they've been, all the things they've done, they share all of that with me, and they're an open book, and they love to share their story. And I listen to their story, and I ask questions, and I'm like, well, how do you go to Florida every winter? How are you going to Punta Cana? I have a few clients that snowbird in Punta Cana. Like, amazing, right? I would say at least the group of people I work with, a lot of them have like really great savings and they have done that. And they're financially set. I would say about 70% of the people that I work with, during this season, they go out of town for the winter, which is just great. It's really encouraging. I'm like, how did you do it? How did you do it? How did you build up the amount in your savings that you did? And how, like, now you're living the life that you love. I have people who are always going on like Alaskan cruises and to Europe and like all kinds of amazing things. I have a gentleman that I love to talk with. And he's been to Romania over 29 times, and he's built multiple churches across the country of Romania, which is just amazing. And he does missionary stuff. I have people who've been like just all over the world, have the most amazing stories. I have clients that I work with that have the airplanes and they have boats and they send me tickets and they like say, hey, like we can't make it to this hockey game. Like here, take your family. And I have this one couple who I adore, and they're actually at Disney right now because they love Disney so much. And it's the International Food and Wine Festival at Disney. And they go to Disney every year, sometimes multiple times a year because they love it that much. And they're retired and they can do it because they've saved. So with all that being said, as I'm sitting there using this mess that life has thrown at me of medical bills being astronomical, finally deciding if this is a way I can help people save money in one way, because I am a certified financial coach, I will do it. That was my thing. If it will help other people save money, and for me to be able to help them navigate the medical industry, the medical insurance industry, I should say, the insurance industry and the costs that come with that. I want to be able to do that. But then on the other side, these people are 65 and up for the majority of it. Some of them have retired young, which is awesome. I get some in their 50s who retire super young. Hey, boys. No, don't be fighting like that. I tell you what, he's going to get his own popcorn. I just don't even know. Who knows what's happening in the kitchen right now? I'm about ready to close the door, lock myself in the dining room and just say, okay, I'll be over there in a minute. But with all that being said, they tell me the things that they would have, should have, and could have done. I have people who are like, I wish I would have like followed my dreams and started this. I wish I wouldn't have worked 43 years at the paint factory. I wish I would have spent more time with my kids. I wish that I would have taken care of my health more. I think that's one of the number one things that I see a lot is that these people are over 65. And I keep using that word, but like, I mean, it's just how it is. They're like on Medicare. Most of them are retired. Some of them have to go back to work and pick up 2 or 3 jobs. It's really crazy because they can't afford the cost of their medications. I see people who are paying thousands of dollars for prescriptions that shouldn't cost that. Unfortunately, I just seen somebody who had gotten done fighting cancer, and they had to be on a certain prescription for a couple of years after fighting cancer. It's $9,000 a month, you guys, $9,000 a month. And then there was some type of like rebate program through this like oncology pharmacy that was supposed to give it to them for a discount of $600 a month. And because I did a little bit of research and dug into it and was just so disgusted that this prescription was $9,000 a month, we actually got it for $185 for him. Not even through insurance, which is just so crazy. We ended up getting it through GoodRx for $185. Now, tell me how a prescription can go from $9,000 a month to $185 with something that's not even technically insurance, and it's a card anybody can sign up for. It's just such a broken system. So honestly, now I just like, this is where I think they'll like shut me down and like be like, nope, you can't work with this anymore. Is that I'm out there and I'm like, you just got to play their game. You got to play their game. You got to play the medical bill game. You have to get out there and you just have to advocate for yourself. You have to maybe look into some untraditional ways. I have clients who go to Canada to buy prescriptions. I have a guy who vacations in Yuma, Arizona, which is on the Mexico border. So he can go over and buy his insulin for the entire year at a time because of how crazy the costs are here. I have people who have had to pick up second jobs because their prescriptions are so expensive. And I also have people who just flat out just say, I should have taken care of my health so much better because now I'm on this prescription that led to a pre-existing for this prescription and led to a side effect on this and this and this and this and this. I wish I wouldn't have stressed myself out for so long because I know that's what, contributed to this. Like they're tearing up their bodies, working in factories. They're not feeling well. All of these things. Are you looking for popcorn still? I think we might be out of popcorn, boys. Is there more way up high? Oh, we might have to get that. Okay, so I got to wrap this up, you guys, just because, as you can hear, We've got a popcorn fiasco happening in the kitchen this morning. But with all of that being said, not only do I get to help people save money in an area that has caused so much stress and so much strain, and that's the medical bills. I get to help people save money. I wish this is something that somebody would have done for my grandpa when he was trying to navigate all of this stuff. So I get to help them, but they are sharing their stories with me. They are telling me the things that they wish they would have, could have, and should have done. They are sharing their stories of faith. They're sharing their stories of heartbreak. They're sharing those stories with me. And I absolutely love hearing people stories that have more wisdom than me. And to be honest with you, one of the things that has came out of that is that they tell me these things that they like, these morals that they had when they were younger, these things that they were taught when they were younger, these things that they loved about like the lessons that they wish they would have known. And I'm sitting there and a lot of the times I'm like making these mental notes like, oh my goodness, I should just make sure I'm always saving into my savings account. I need to make sure I take that vacation because life is too short and your kids grow up too fast. They tell me that all the time. Your kids are going to grow up in the blink of an eye. So I'm making all these notes. I'm making all these notes in my head and writing them down. And then I got to the point where I was like, how do I teach my kids? How do I tell my kids about this stuff? How do I show my kids how to have phone etiquette and put your phone away? How do I teach my kids these things? And that's where Mini Main Street comes about, is that it's a way to teach kids life skills that aren't being taught anywhere else. So here I am taking this terrible mess of having hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars in medical bills year after year after year. Then I started serving seniors. I started helping seniors save their money, because I wanted to make a little bit of extra money. I was already a certified financial coach. I already understood how insurance and medical bills like could be crippling and crumbling. And then I love hearing people's stories, because if you go back, like I said, and you listen to the podcast I recorded about being an old soul last week, if you listen to that, you will see that like I love to talk to people. I love to hear their stories, and I relate to people who are like just beyond my years. I don't really have a lot of friends that are the same age as me, to be quite honest with you. And you'll hear more about that if you check out that where I shared my story there. So with all that being said, then my clients tell me things that they wish they could have, would have, should have done, the things that they did. I sit there and ask them, how did you go to Punta Cana for 12 weeks in the winter? And how do you have a condo down there? And how did you do that? And they tell me all about it. And they had such an average job. These aren't people who are brain surgeons. These are people who are just like you and me, pretty average people, husbands and wives that have been married 30, 40 plus years. And they just share with me how they've done it. And they're so honest. Another thing that they always tell me about is their relationship advice, that it wasn't easy. I mean, I have people who come in and they're like, we've been married 50 years and we almost got divorced 5 times. Like it was so hard, but just don't throw in the towel. They share with me so much. You're not going to eat that many cookies. No, you're going to save some. You're going to save some for Houston or Oakland. Okay. He just came in with about a like stack about that tall of Chips Ahoy cookies. So maybe pick like 1 or 2. Okay. But not 5 or 10.
Grandma got me.
Grandma got you a stocking?
Yeah.
Awesome, Bubba.
Stocking.
Yeah. Hey, don't turn that on too loud when you start it, okay? Okay, and I'm almost done. As I'm sitting here with piles of homework around me and just, I'm popcorn wrappers, crazy life. So with all of this being said, this is how God has just made this a really, really, really awesome, beautiful thing, and how all the pictures come together is because I get to use my experience. I get to use the kind of the pain that I went through navigating through the cost of medical care and insurance and all that stuff. Now I get to serve people. I get to help them save their retirement. I get to hear their stories. And then now with Mini Main Street, I get to take those life events and those things that people like, that wisdom that they share with me. And I get to take that and I'm going to be able to teach that to the next generation that's coming up and say, hey, this is the wisdom. This is the wisdom that people who have already done this, who have already walked through, these decades of their life and who have already retired from a job and who have already either have regret and things that they wish they would have done differently. And like, here are the things that they have to say. And I get to tell the kids about it now in hopes that will sink in hopes that they'll listen to it. And that hope that they will be able to implement that in their life. You guys, I am not even kidding. To be 100% absolutely honest, I am so worried about my generation and what they're going to do when they get to be retirement age, because my generation is not saving. My generation has no idea how much they need to have in savings. Our life expectancy has went way beyond what I think like people even know how much they need to be saving for their retirement. People are living into their 80s, and I'm sorry, if you retire at 65 and you're going to live till 80 or 90, that is like, let's say, well, we'll just say on average 20 years that you have to have a savings built for. And you need to do that, and you need to do it when you're young. So that's one of the things that I'm like working on with the kids at Mini Main Street and the curriculum and everything is like, kids, we have to be saving because we don't know. We don't know what tomorrow is going to hold. We don't know if we're going to be disabled before we get to retirement age and have to go and we have to retire way early. We have no idea. You have to at least have 20 years worth of savings in your accounts, like it's shared. I mean, you may be promised a pension, but it may not be there if the company folds under, like goes under and things. That's happened. That's happened to people that I love. So I'm like over here taking all this wisdom and this knowledge that these people who are just so much more experienced than me, and I'm taking that and I'm making mental notes, and I'm able to say, okay, if you could have done something differently, what would you do? If you could give advice to the younger version of yourself, what would you change? What would you do? If you had a dream, if you had something you wish you would have done in your life, what would it be? It's the saddest thing to talk with people and then be like, I wish I would have went to Europe when I had the chance, because now I'm too old and I'm too frail and I'm never going to make it there. I wish I would have spent time with my kids more because, my son passed away and I miss him like crazy, but I worked his entire childhood away. And I wish that I would have not worried so much about what other people were doing in their lives. And I wish I would have made the memories with my kids and not cared so much about what other people thought about me for so long. And I'm like, mental note, mental note, mental note, like, because they're sharing their heart with me. They're sharing their feelings with me. And I'm able to take that in and be like, okay, this is somebody telling me their heart, their honesty. And now I'm able to kind of like capture that and just share that and just encourage the next generation. Like, these are the things that somebody who's already walked in your place has experienced, and you may want to take note of that. And then also, what can I do? What can I do so that I can go to Punta Cana for 12 weeks when I'm retired? And what can I do if I want to have a plane one day? And how do I get to those places? And it's so encouraging because these are your average typical Americans next door that have done these things and they retire like way early. I have some people who can retire in like their 50s because they have saved, because they have done things a certain way. Not saying the journey has been easy, but that is how all of this is coming together, is that I have now become like that sandwich where I have worked with people, that have already been there and done that, but I'm also raising children who are just getting started on their journey. And I'm like the sandwich in the middle, and it helps me. And it helps me just honestly navigate through life, because people, I mean, I'm telling you, like I have like a set of a couple dozen grandparents. Honestly, now that I don't have any of my physical grandparents left here on this earth, I have other people though who have like swept me up under their wings, and they'll say like, hey, this is it. I have clients who will sit across from me and I will be done talking to them about their insurance, which honestly is frustrating. It's such a broken system that I have shared with you guys. I have people who are done serving them and they're sitting there and they're praying for me. I have clients who will cut out my newspaper articles and send them, and they're so sweet. And they'll be like, oh, paper again. Like, you go, girl. I have clients who, I have a client, oh my goodness, he's the sweetest man ever. And he has me in tears every time he comes in and he holds my hands and he prays with me. I mean, I have clients who I know for a fact, like, I will miss them so very much, but they also know Jesus and I know where they're going, and they've shared their journey to faith with me. I have people who shared that they go to AA and they had struggled with alcoholism and they were abusive towards their spouse, and they share with me where they have come in their lives. And they also aren't afraid to share that story. Obviously with me, everything is confidential because one, I'm just not that type of person who's going to ever say somebody's name or share their story. But number two, I just am so thankful that God has placed all these pieces together. He had a plan for it. He took the mess and the brokenness, and he's taken my unfortunate knowledge for how much medical bills can end up costing, and he's used it for something really good. And now I can serve people in the way that I wish, like, do unto others the way you want them to do to you. And that's exactly what God has been able to do with all of this. And like I said, it's just a beautiful thing because I can take the stories from people who've already been there and done that. And now I can help encourage that next generation. And that's what Mini Main Street is all about. That's what the curriculum is all built on, you guys. It's all of that stuff. So it's like, wow, God, wow. wow, you have been able to take this mess and turn it into a message. You have been able to take this pain and turn it into my purpose. You have been able to take this, test and turn it into a testimony. And it's the most beautiful, interesting, loving thing. And now as I sit with my clients, and I've been sharing with them all this year, that I will continue. I will continue to serve them. I will continue to do Medicare. I will help them pick whether they're taking a supplement plan or an Advantage plan. I will run their costs. I put them with companies that I don't even represent, because it's like, it's not about that. God sees what I do. God will take care of that on the other side of it. It never costs them anything to see me, which I'm like, I wouldn't want to charge them anyways, because everybody else is taking all their savings account. It's just all of this stuff, you guys. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, God, you are so good. You are so good. Like I said, I see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people at this time of the year, but don't ever think that just because you don't hear from me for a while, it doesn't mean that things aren't happening, because just alone this season that I have been sitting down with people and they're sharing their stories with me, and they're telling me about how, they're multi-millionaires and how they did it and how they got there just by saving 15% of their income. And they had a really great financial advisor. As they're sharing those stories with me, I am now able to take that and I'm going to be able to share that with children. I'm going to be able to share that with the kids that are getting ready to start their journey out in the world. So it's like, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my God, this is just so crazy. And this is also my way to still contribute to my family. I am 100% independent. I have been for years. I have always made my own hours. I think since 2014, after I left my bank job, I have always been independent and been able to like come and go as I please, except for that small season of when I was working customer service, and not last long. I kind of have to be able to make my own schedule. If I want to go into work at 5 o'clock on a Friday morning, I will. And if I don't, I don't. And like, if I want to be working at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon, I can. And if I don't, I go to Soak City with my kids. So I am just so thankful for that. And just all the really unique things that I have been blessed with. But that's also what makes me so encouraged about being able to share this stuff with the next generation. And it all comes down to how you care for people. I think your career, oh goodness, guys, this is a whole nother tangent for a whole nother day, but that base word of career, the base word is, the root word, I should say, is care. How are you going to care for other people? How are you going to be able to care for other people in your life? And this is the way that I get to care for people. What they don't realize is that they end up serving me, because they are just pouring their hearts out. They're sharing things. They are encouraging me. They are praying for me. They're so funny, because my clients, a lot of us are like friends here on Facebook, or like I said, they'll pick up newspaper articles and they buy my books and then they bring them in and they have me sign them. And it's so funny. It's just like, it cracks me up, and I love it, because we have just like this connection on a different level of just like, they're rooting for me. They are encouraging me. And I love them, and they care for my family. They pray for my family. They bring Christmas presents in for my kids. Like I said, they love us. But I just flat out tell them when they come in, if it's somebody new, I flat out tell them I work in insurance and I hate it. It's such a broken system. It's such a broken system on how much some of these prescription drugs cost. It's such a broken system. And then I can share with them my heart. The only reason I'm doing this is because we maxed out our insurance every single year for over 10 years. We have over $100,000 in medical bills that we are still either navigating through, or let me share this one with you guys. And this is another thing that has happened. So like I said, people don't realize that we've maxed out our insurance every single year from 2013 when the twins were born, all the way up until 2020 when Barrett did have his last eye surgery. Yeah, we've maxed out our insurance over $100,000 in medical bills that we are responsible for. I'm not talking that the insurance companies are going to pay. No, I'm talking about our part and our responsibility as your typical American couple is over $100,000. That's why we've only ever made it to Disney one time, is because we have paid for a Disney trip every single year. That's why we drive rusty, clunky old cars. It's because we have had over $100,000 in medical bills. That is why I know how to talk to collection companies, because it's an ugly, nasty, just terrible, broken, just suffocating system and how that works. And that is why I can now take that pain and turn it into the purpose and help other people navigate through it, because I wish this was stuff I didn't know. I wish this was stuff I didn't understand, but I also know now that I can use that mess and I can use that knowledge that I have and be able to like carry it on and work with people. So God definitely has plans. He has plans, and he has plans for every single one of us. And I'm just thankful. Finally, because it's been about 5-6 years, at least 6, maybe even 7 years. And I'm like, God, what are you doing with me? How is this ever going to work? How am I ever going to, how is this ever going to happen? How is this like, all going to come together. And God has really revealed that to me now, is that I am kind of just this middle person in the middle. I am this bridge between people who've been there and done that and the kids that are coming up, and just being able to say, they're saying they wish they would have done this differently. Maybe take a note of this, do this differently in your life, start saving at a young age, start taking care of your health at a young age, value your relationships at a young age. And so it's like, I'm able to take those and just like, kind of just be like the pass through and just say, hey, coulda, woulda, shoulda, try and think about it and be on your toes and think about these things. So, oh my goodness, there's just so much. I'm just thinking about all of that. I don't know. We live in a very broken world. We live in a tough world, but I am so thankful for the people that I have to go on this journey with me. I could talk to you guys all day long, and it's just that freedom. Oh my goodness, Mama, I seen your message. I seen your comment back there. You are just too much, Mom. I love you. Thank you for your compliment this morning. It comes from getting up at 3:30 in the morning, getting a workout and getting a shower, and already doing a few audio chapters into my audiobook, listening to those. Now coming on here and talking to people, being able to talk to them about the things that are going on in life and how God is working. And I get excited. I'm excited. I think is my secret weapon is that I get up and I am so fired up every single day. Like, I seriously look at my calendar. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing 10 clients today. I'm seeing 10 clients today. And I get to decide how late I want to work. I get to decide I should probably at some point in time, probably in the near future, I won't take any new clients just because I want to be able to serve the ones that I already have to the best of my ability. And I'm only one person. Unless I get somebody to help me with some of this. And they can help me with all my kind of the behind the scenes sending faxes and cancellations and data input and things like that. Unless I can get somebody to help me with that at one point. I'm only one person and I can only do so much with that stuff. But with that all being said, I'm just so encouraged every single day. It's like I get up with this like fire in my soul and this mission. I'm like out there and I'm like, you know what? This is such a broken world, with so many things that are so confusing. There's so many things that happen that are so unfortunate, but I get to get up and I might be able to make a change in somebody's life. I might be able to save them $5,000 next year. I might be able to save them $500 a month. Like, that's what I legit get excited to do, because I also know that through your freedom and through those things, that people, if they are able to use their money on things that can help society, like, they will. And I want to be able to help them be able to do those things. So long story long is that's why I wanted to get on here and talk to you this morning, is because I do not want you to mistake me not showing up here on Facebook for a little while as in me not talking or me not doing anything. It's that I am so determined right now, and I am so fired up, and I am so out there, and I am so focused, and I am out there, and we are working on Mini Main Street, and I am working on things in this ministry, and I am out there sharing so many different things right now that don't ever think that I am not working. Because this girl right here is hustling. I am working hard. I am crushing it. I am out there. And I know there are so many of you guys doing that same exact thing. And that's what happens when you have passion. That's what happens when you have purpose. I mean, there are some days, I will share this with you guys, where I got up in the middle of the night the other night. It was like 12:30. He had the puppy. I don't even know where that puppy is right now. I hope he's sleeping on the couch, because I don't know where he's at right now. But anyways, he got up at 12:30. I could not go back to sleep. I'm like, okay, God, are we doing this? Am I getting up? It's 12:30 on a Monday morning. Am I getting up? Am I getting up now? And it was a yes. It was a yes. And God's like over here, like giving me all these things. I'm journaling, I'm praying. It's all these things. I was up from like 12:30 on Monday morning until about 4:30. I fell asleep on the couch, got up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and went into work and crushed it and had a bunch of appointments and came home and got to be with my kids. And just like, I don't know. It's like, God, is this really my life? Is this really what I get to do every day? But he's been able to take that mess and turn it into my message. And it's all about how you care for people. So that's how I'm fired up. That's how I'm out there. That's how I'm out there. And I want to debunk all these lies. I want to be able to help people navigate something that's super confusing, a system that is super broken. And it's not that it's the healthcare they're receiving. They're getting phenomenal care. It's just at the cost in our country of how much some things cost. That's what's scary. That's what's a really broken thing. There's no prescription that should be $9,000 a month. And it just shouldn't be that way. So I have so much more I can talk to you guys about today. I have so much more I could say, but I've been on here for nearly an hour. I think I'm going to go eat some popcorn with my kids. I'm going to get ready for the day. We have about an hour or so before we leave for school. But I just want to just encourage you guys that each of us can take our story. We can use it for God's glory. We can get out there. We can serve one another. We can treat each other the way that we want to be treated, that golden rule. We can get out there. Your dreams can become true. It doesn't take anybody super special to do these things. I mean, heck, we could all be snowbirds in Punta Cana if we wanted to for 12 weeks. Sign me up, sign me up. And then maybe, we could all, I always tell my clients, I'm like, I'm with you because I love you guys and you guys are amazing. And they invite me down to their houses and they're like, hey, come on, come on down. You can borrow the place for a week. I'm like, yeah, sign me up. I love it. And it's just because of my soul. It's because of my soul connecting with people way beyond my years and wiser and just teaching me your lessons and tell me everything. So I could talk to you guys all day long. I love you guys. You guys have an amazing day. Just so much is happening. Yes, Project Happy is a go. If you are watching and you have some questions on that, let me know. That's a go. We got to make a difference for these local kids. So let's take some presents to kids that may not get a Christmas present this year. That is a go. I got to stop at the sheriff's department this morning and drop off brochures out there. Life is crazy. Life is good. It's good. It's a good crazy, but I am on a mission. I am just on a mission to say, you know what? Take my broken mess and use it to learn a message, to learn a lesson. Take my mess and let it become, something that helps you not have to walk through the same things that I have in life. Take the pain that I walk through in my life and use it because I would rather you learn from my mistakes and learn from my pain than have to walk through it yourself. And I know there are just so many people out there that have so many messages inside of them that other people, they'll be able to help so many other people. So, like I said, I get to see a lot of clients today. I have a lot of talking to do. So I need to shut my mouth for now and get out there, and I need to get my kids ready. So I love you guys. Have an amazing day. I hope to talk to you guys again really soon.